You'll see on this spool, same idea, but now there's two channels for two different lines. And again, two holes to start the line. And just like before, it does tell us which direction to wrap the line. On this head, I found it's very important to have nice clean cuts on the end of your trimmer line. In fact, I even like to cut them at a slight angle. It just makes it easier to feed them into the holes on the trimmer head. So there's both pieces we'll use, cut at an angle. Now we'll insert the line into the starting holes on the spool. One like that, and the other side. Wind the line just like before, the direction that the trimmer head tells us. And again, keep the line as straight as possible in those channels so that it feeds properly later. Again, there's a little retainer to hold one of our lines while we wrap the other side. Now I'm going to hold the lines 180 degrees apart from each other. That corresponds with the eyelets on the trimmer head being 180 degrees apart. And we'll install the spool by first putting the line through those eyelets, one side and then the other. Just like that. And then install the spool onto the trimmer head.
After I have two equal lengths of trimmer line cut, the next step is to go ahead and add the line to the spool. Notice that on the upper part of this spool there is a hole that has been molded into the spool. This is where I will begin by shoving the trimmer line into it. And once I have the trimmer line shoved into the hole, I will begin winding the trimmer line in the direction of the arrows. One of the reasons I cut my trimmer line 10 to 12 feet is that on this spool I don't want to try and add more line than what the spool will hold. Another thing I try and do is, as I'm winding, I try and get the trimmer line to space evenly across the width of the spool, and this way it doesn't bind up when I tap the head to feed the line. Okay, almost half done. And on this particular spool, I always wind the top half first because there's a little slot that's been cut into the spool, and once I'm done I just snap the line into that little slot, and it holds it while I'm doing the bottom half. On the bottom half it's the same process. I push the line into the little hole, and then I wind in the direction of the arrow. And once I get all of the trimmer line in the bottom half, it's time to put the spool back in the trimmer head.
Finally, on the bottom, you will see the correct winding direction for the line. Taking one line, You will want to wind the half of the spool that is closest to the notches first. You will want to make a mental note of the position of the retaining hole you will start with. When you wind the second line, you will want to start on the opposite side of the spool. Insert the line as far into the retaining hole as you can, then wind the line around the spool firmly and evenly, not crossing over into the other half. When you have approximately 5 inches of unwound line, insert the line into a notch in the spool. Insert the second length of line into the opposite side of the spool in the unwound half and in the retaining hole that is 180 degrees opposite the first line you wound. Repeat the winding process to about 5 inches of unwound line and insert this.
Even though you might have a different brand, most string trimmers work generally the same. You can either pinch off the cap like this one, or sometimes it's a pinch and twist or just a twist. And a lot of times if it's an older trimmer, it's going to be a little bit hard to get the cap off, just because this part of the trimmer gets beat up a lot. Inside is going to be a little spool. On one side you'll see an arrow and it'll show you which way to wind the string. I'm going to take off the old string and put a little bit thicker string on this one, so it's a little heavier duty. On the spool you're going to see a hole to insert the new string and just wind it up tight. The cleaner you wind it, the better it'll feed. With smaller trimmers like this one, you want to replace the string with something that's generally the same thickness. You don't want to get too thick or it might not work right. Once it's full, just clip it, slip it through the hole and push the spool in. And snap on the cap. Again, even though you probably have a different brand, chances are it's a lot like this one.